The same machine, around about 1924, but with an overhead valve engine, won the Isle of Man TT. Yeah, made when England made the best motorbikes in the world. Not so no more. I once went to Leeds on this, you know. Yeah, hell of a journey, over Blackstone Edge, you know. In bloody winter and all. Yeah, my hands were frozen to handlebars.
What is a role model? Is it merely someone famous or loud? Someone dripping in bling, maybe? Or is it someone who lives with quiet purpose, who does rather than tells? On this channel, I've looked at knights and explorers like William Marshall, who served 5 kings and oversaw the Magna Carta, or Einar Mikkelsen, who dragged a sled across a frozen wasteland just to bring home the truth. But there are other kinds of heroes, working class ones, men with dirt-streaked faces and oil-stained hands, men like Fred Dibnah, not just a steeplejack, but a kind of industrial archaeologist. Someone who didn't just climb Britain's crumbling chimneys, he understood them, respected them, and loved them. And here's the strange, almost poetic twist. He was often the one to bring them down, the last man to touch them. He didn't blow them up, he guided their fall like a kind of burial rite. He demolished them with respect. And that's a rare perspective, to tear down what you love, but do it with reverence.
My main competition is the dynamite men when it comes to felling a chimney, you know. Sort of they'll come along and, you know, blow it up in half a day, so they only need a quarter of money I want. So really that's why on television everyone you see going down, it's blown up. You know, there's none of them done with the pit props and the big fire. Like, you know, like they did it in 1899, which, you know, I like doing it that way because it's more spectacular, you know, and it's, you get a bit of a build-up to it, whereas when you press that plunger, boom, that's it, you know, it's over with, you know, you've not really done so much, you know, you just destroyed something that it took a few men a long time to erect, and a lot of hard bloody sweat and labour, and when they finished it off, no doubt they put the Union Jack up and you've just blown it up with pressing a button. Whereas if you've got to hack your way through 3 foot of brickwork at the bottom with a few 100 tons squeezing on it, you know, it's not died too easy, has it?
I remember when Fred first appeared on the telly, late 1970s, maybe 1980. I was a lad then. My dad watched him. I watched my dad. So I watched Fred too. It's hard to explain unless you were there, but there was something grounding about him, real. No ego, no gloss, just soot, dirt, brass, and an accent that you could lean on.
Basically, I'm still like a Victorian. This feministic sort of outlook, you know, I don't think you can really escape from it. But the Victorians, really, I mean, there were more of them sort of working for a living, weren't there then, than what there is now. And the ladies' place were to be at home, you know, getting the tea ready at tea time. and all, and like now when there's half at buggers come home now and they have to get their own teas, don't they? You know, these, I'm just come home from the office, darling, you know, cook your teas in the oven, I'm going out to the, you know, to the bingo or something like that. You know, it's a weird situation now, you know. It's a bit, I don't know, a bit like the end of the Roman Empire, innit? You know, like they all either turned homosexual and went queer and went into a great nation of pleasure seeking after they retracted back to Rome from all over the world. You know, learned us how to have baths and underwater floor eating and all that sort of thing, and then they went bloody bad, and now like they make racing cars and washing machines, don't they? You know, it's like the end of the road. I think we've had our day, really. I don't want to appear to be a sort of a diehard type person, but like if you think about England, you know, the perfecting of the steam engine in, you know, 1700s, early 1800s, made England lead the world in engineering from about 1790 odd to about 1914, and I think ever since then we've been going a bit down broke.
Years later, me and my brother had tickets to go see him speak in Wrexham. One of those rare moments when you realise you might actually meet someone you've always admired. But he was taken ill and couldn't continue with the tour. Dan Cruikshank stepped in. No insult to Dan, but it wasn't Fred. It was so close. I do wonder if Fred ever knew how much people loved him. I hope so. While Fred takes on this chimney the old-fashioned way, no harness, just nerve. This is a good moment to ask, if you're enjoying the film, please consider subscribing. It really does help the channel, and best of all, it's free. It costs nout, as Fred would say. And I'd be chuffed to have you along for the ride. Who knows, you might find a few other stories on my channel up your street too. Thanks. Fred climbed chimneys the way a monk might climb a bell tower. It wasn't just a job, it was a calling. He didn't do it for fame, he did it because it needed doing, and it needed doing right. These were the giants of Britain's industrial age: cotton mills, collieries, steam era cathedrals.
That's the biggest chimney that there is in Bolton, and when I was 15 years old I climbed up that for a 10-shilling wager, because Steeplejacks were repairing it, you see, at the time. And one dark winter night, you know, I did do it. I never got the 10 bob, you know, but I got the 2 Union Jacks tied round the lightning conductors, you know, at the top. And they blamed it on the Manchester University students, you see. Well, it weren't them, it were really me.
Fred understood them like a stonemason understands a church. He spoke of them with awe, and when it came time to take them down, Fred did it the old way, using fire and timber, guiding their collapse with precision and respect. He thought it vulgar to blow them up. He gave them a proper send-off, and that says a lot about the man.
It's unbelievable this, we shouldn't be here today, really.
You know,
yeah,
when we've got all the evacuation done, when I've got this road sealed, we're sealing it off with major incident tape.
Yeah.
Look at that white tape.
Oh, yeah. I'll get going. Turn it round a bit. That's it. Right, now then. Right in the middle there. Oh, there. That's it. Right, you can give it me now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Lovely thing, won't burn. See it moving, the stick. That stick. I hope the bloody thing goes. It's going. Going. Go for. Do you like that?
But Fred wasn't just dismantling the past, he was building things too. Bit by bit, he restored and hand-built a working steam traction engine. Not just bought, actually made, forged, welded, filed, one part at a time.
Like a steam engine really gives you sort of a form of immortality. To actually resurrect one from a pile of rust, you know, you've got your stamp on it. The thing is, you know, when I'm long gone dead, you know, it'll still be here, and, you know, I mean, even if they drop the bomb, they'd blow all the houses down, but just roll this over into a ditch somewhere, and some, if there were anybody left, would eventually find it and sort of say, you know, this is an interesting piece, you know, like, what were they like when they made these?
And there's this one story I always come back to. He built a chimney for his mum. Proper brickwork, perfect symmetry, rate good draft, his own design. A monument to pride, skill and love. And he was only 17. That chimney still stands in Bolton.
I built this chimney when I were about 17 years old. We had a stack like the one next door, you know, with 5 pots on, which 4 of them were disused and smoke only went up one. So I thought, well, we'll take all these 4 down and build a nice chimney stack, you see. So I didn't really design it, I just built it. It just ended up that shape. Everybody said I was crazy, you know. But it's never cracked, and it's got a lovely draft on it, you know. Suck your house slippers off when it's going at bottom.
Fred was fearless, but not reckless. In a way, he was a prototype adrenaline junkie. He didn't climb those chimneys to show off. He climbed them because that's how you did it, with care, with respect. He used to say, you only get to make a mistake once as a steeplejack. Up there with the wind howling and the bricks shifting under your boots, everything had to be done properly. Sometimes people had a go at him for having a pint at lunch. he'd just grin and say, "Would you get up there sober?" He wouldn't have called it philosophy, but today we'd call him a stoic. He just got on with things.
Didn't have time to blow the hooter.
When the weather was bad, he worked. When the job was hard, he worked. He didn't moan, he didn't flinch, he just carried on. He believed in doing things properly, not quickly, not cheaply, properly. That kind of thinking's going out of fashion. Maybe it shouldn't be.
There's a lot to be said for the olden days, I say, and how they did things. You were better craftsmen, better at everything, really. Had more respect for property and things of that nature. Now they have no respect for nothing. All they want is a life of bloody pleasure. Difficult.
He stood for something that's harder and harder to find. Craft over convenience. Substance over surface. Pride in your work, even when no one's watching.
Nobody will ever see it, but, I do. When I'm lying in bed at home, I'm thinking, bloody hell, has any of my pointing dropped out of that chimney yet, sort of thing.
Maybe that's why people loved him, because he made you want to do things better, stand a bit straighter, take your hands out your pockets. Fred didn't preserve history in a museum, even though his backyard was like a working museum. He preserved it in his hands, in his words, in the dirt under his fingernails. It's a strange kind of poetry that the man most famous for demolishing the monuments of the industry was also one of their greatest defenders. He brought them down not with a bang but with reverence, with an archaeologist's care. Almost.
Can you work your camera?
Along with his headstone, he's got a blue plaque now, and a statue, and that's good. He deserves them. But Fred's more than a plaque, more than a name on a wall. He's an idea that doing things properly matters, that skill and sweat and a bit of pride in your graft still count for something. In Bolton, there's a quiet little chimney he built for his mum. It doesn't make the headlines, doesn't need to. It says everything. Fred wasn't trying or set out to be a role model, but I guess that's what makes him one. Maybe that's the kind of legacy we need to dust off and remember. Before you go, if you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help out the channel. And please, share the heckings out of this video. Ta-ra.